The wind howled across the frozen wasteland of Antarctica, carrying with it the kind of cold that could stop a person's heart in minutes. Dr. Maya Rodriguez pulled her heavy coat tighter as she stepped out of the research station. She had been working at the remote facility for 3 years now, studying ice samples and climate data. Life here was quiet, predictable, and exactly how she liked it. That morning started like any other. Maya was in the lab, examining microscopic organisms, when the entire building shook. Coffee spilled across her desk, and equipment rattled on the shelves. At first, she thought it was an earthquake. Then came the sound, a deep, metallic crash that echoed across the ice for miles. "What was that?" her colleague Dr. James Kim shouted. From across the lab, Maya rushed to the window. In the distance, a column of strange blue smoke rose from behind an ice ridge. It wasn't like anything she had ever seen before. The smoke seemed to shimmer and dance in ways that defied the harsh Antarctic wind. Within an hour, their small research team was trudging through the snow toward the crash site. Maya's heart pounded as they climbed the ridge. Nothing could have prepared her for what they found on the other side. A craft unlike anything from Earth lay partially buried in the ice. It wasn't the metal and rivets of human technology. Instead, it seemed to be made from something that looked almost alive, surfaces that shifted between silver and deep purple, with patterns that moved like water across its hull. "Is that?" James whispered, his breath forming clouds in the frigid air. "Not from here." Maya finished. She was a scientist, trained to think logically. But her hands were shaking as she approached the wreckage, near what appeared to be an opening in the craft. They found the survivor. The being was roughly human-sized, but clearly not human. Its skin had an unusual quality, like it was made of living crystal, that changed color with each breath. When it was unconscious, the patterns were dim, almost gray. But as Maya knelt beside it, the colors began to shift to warmer tones. "It's alive," she whispered. The being's chest rose and fell in a rhythm that seemed almost familiar, almost human. But not quite. Getting the survivor back to the research station was no easy task. It took for them to carry the unconscious being across the ice. Maya stayed closed the entire time, watching for any sign of distress or change in condition. Back at the station, they set up a makeshift medical area in the main lab. Maya had some basic medical training, but she was dealing with biology unlike anything in her textbooks. The being's vital signs were stable, but completely different from human norms. Its body temperature was lower, its heartbeat slower, but there was definitely life there. On the second day, it woke up. Maya was alone in the lab when she noticed the color patterns on its skin becoming brighter. She looked up from her notes to find two large, dark eyes watching her. They weren't quite the same shape as human eyes, but the intelligence behind them was unmistakable. "Hello," Maya said softly. Not knowing if it could understand, the being tried to sit up, moving carefully as if testing whether its body still worked properly. When it opened what might have been its mouth, no sound came out. Instead, Maya felt something strange, a gentle pressure in her mind, like someone was trying to remember a word they had forgotten. Over the following days, Maya spent every waking moment trying to communicate with their visitor. She tried drawings, gestures, even playing music. The being seemed to understand that she was trying to reach out, but conventional communication wasn't working. The breakthrough came during her fourth sleepless night of trying. Maya was exhausted, frustrated, and sitting quietly next to the being's bed. She closed her eyes and, almost without thinking, tried to imagine what it might be like to be far from home, injured, and surrounded by strange creatures. Suddenly, she wasn't just imagining anymore. Images flooded her mind, not her own memories, but someone else's. She saw vast cities that seemed to grow from living crystal. Beings like her patient moving through spaces that defied the laws of physics she knew. She felt homesickness so deep it made her chest ache, and loneliness that went beyond anything she had ever experienced. But she also felt something else, curiosity about her, about humans, about this strange blue world where water fell from the sky and covered everything in white. When the connection ended, Maya found herself looking into the being's eyes with completely new understanding. It had shared its thoughts with her, its memories, its feelings. This wasn't just advanced technology or superior intelligence. This was a form of communication that humans had never imagined. You can share thoughts, Maya whispered, and felt a warm feeling of confirmation in response. Over the following weeks, these moments of connection became longer and deeper. Maya learned that her patient, she had started thinking of the being as Alex, though that wasn't its real name, came from a world where individuals could share consciousness. Like humans shared conversations, Alex had been traveling alone, which was apparently unusual for their species. Most of them lived in groups, constantly connected to each other's thoughts and feelings. Alex had wanted to see what it was like to be truly alone, to make choices without the input of others. The crash hadn't been an accident in the way Maya first thought. Alex had been trying to land, drawn by radio signals from Earth. They were curious about a species that seemed to live entirely in individual minds, separate from each other. As Maya spent more time connected to Alex's thoughts, she began to understand things about herself that she had never realized. She saw her own memories through alien eyes, her decision to work in Antarctica, her preference for solitude, her deep love of discovery. But she also felt Alex's perspective on human emotions, human relationships, human ways of thinking that were completely foreign to their experience. The connection was changing both of them. Maya found herself more aware of the people around her, more sensitive to their unspoken feelings. Alex's crystal-like skin patterns began to include colors that didn't exist on their home world, shades that seemed to reflect human emotions. But their peaceful communication sessions couldn't last forever. Word of the crash had reached the outside world, and soon officials would arrive with questions, protocols, and agendas that might not include Alex's well-being. Maya knew their time was running out. Each night, as she felt Alex's homesickness mixed with growing affection for Earth and its strange, isolated inhabitants, she wondered what would happen when the rest of humanity learned about their visitor. The being who had crash-landed in the Antarctic ice was becoming something new through contact with humans. And Maya was changing too, learning to see the world through eyes that had traveled between stars. Neither of them knew that this was only the beginning of a story that would challenge everything. Both species thought they knew about consciousness, connection, and what it truly meant to understand another being. As Maya sat beside Alex on their last quiet night together, feeling the gentle pulse of shared thoughts and emotions, she had no idea that soon she would hear those words that would haunt her dreams: love me again, human, take me again, human. But that night was still in the future. For now, there was only the miracle of two minds from different worlds learning to touch across the vast loneliness of space. 3 months had passed since Maya first looked into Alex's dark eyes. The Antarctic Research Station had become their private world, far from the questions and complications that would come once the outside world learned about their visitor. Maya's life had changed in ways she never expected. Her morning routine now included checking on Alex, who had recovered fully from the crash injuries. But more than that, she found herself looking forward to their daily mind-sharing sessions with an excitement that surprised her. "Show me your home again," Maya would ask, settling into the comfortable chair beside Alex's bed. When their minds connected, Maya could see Alex's world through their memories. Cities that grew like living things, reaching toward twin suns in a purple sky. Beings like Alex moved through spaces that bent and curved in impossible ways, their crystal skin patterns creating a constant light show of shared emotions. But what fascinated Maya most was learning about Alex's personal story on their world. Young beings were paired together for life partnerships that could last thousands of years. These weren't marriages like humans understood them, but something deeper, a permanent joining of consciousness where two individuals became one shared. Alex had been chosen for such a partnership with someone their community considered perfect for them. The ceremony was planned, the families were gathering, and Alex was expected to be grateful for the honor. But I felt empty, Alex shared during one of their conversations. the crystal patterns on their skin shifting to darker blues. I wanted to know what it felt like to choose, not just to accept what others decided was right for me. Maya understood that feeling more than Alex knew. She had come to Antarctica partly to escape her own family's expectations. Their questions about when she would settle down, start a family, live a normal life. "So you left?" Maya said, feeling Alex's memories of the night they took a small ship and flew toward the stars. "I told myself I would just explore for a while," Alex continued. "But when I heard signals from Earth, from beings who lived their whole lives in separate minds, I had to understand how that was possible." As weeks passed, Maya realized that Alex was changing. The crystal patterns on their skin now included colors that didn't exist on their home world. Warm golds and soft greens that seemed to reflect human emotions. Alex was learning to experience feelings the way humans did, individually and privately, while still maintaining their ability to share consciousness. Maya was changing too. The mind-sharing sessions were teaching her things about herself that she had never recognized. She could see her own memories through Alex's perspective, her childhood love of science, her decision to study biology, her need for solitude, but also emotions she had been hiding from herself. "You're lonely," Alex observed one evening, their skin patterns showing gentle concern. "But you choose loneliness because you fear being misunderstood." Maya felt exposed in a way that should have been uncomfortable, but instead brought relief. "On your world, everyone understands each other. All the time, here, we spend most of our lives trying to explain ourselves to people who might never truly get it. But we understand each other," Alex pointed out. And Maya felt the truth of it in the warm connection between their minds. Their relationship was becoming something neither of their species had experienced before. Alex was learning to value privacy and individual choice, while Maya was discovering the joy of being truly understood by another being. The peaceful routine couldn't last forever. Maya knew that government officials had been asking questions about the Antarctic incident. Satellite images had captured the crash, and someone would eventually connect the dots. Dr. James Kim had noticed changes in Maya too. "You've been different since the crash," he mentioned during lunch one day. I don't know, more aware somehow." Maya tried to brush off his concern, but she knew he was right. The mind-sharing sessions with Alex were affecting her in ways that were becoming obvious to others. She found herself responding to people's unspoken feelings, picking up on emotions they weren't expressing out loud. "It's like you can read our minds sometimes," James said with a nervous laugh. That comment made Maya realize how dangerous their situation was becoming. If people started noticing her unusual behavior, it would only be a matter of time before someone discovered Alex. During their next sharing session, Maya brought up her concerns. "My colleagues are getting suspicious, and there have been radio calls from headquarters asking about unusual activity in our sector." Alex's skin patterns shifted to worried purples. "I know you're protecting me, but I don't want to cause problems for you." "You're not causing problems," Maya said quickly. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me." The admission surprised both of them. Maya had never been good at expressing emotions, but the mind-sharing connection made honesty feel natural, necessary. Alex's patterns brightened to warm golds. "On my world, we have a concept that doesn't translate well to human language. It means the one who completes the circle of self. I never understood it until I met you." Maya felt Alex's meaning deeper than words could convey. They weren't just sharing thoughts anymore. They were sharing something that felt like pieces of their souls. But even as their bond deepened, the outside world was closing in. One morning, Maya woke to the sound of helicopters in the distance. Through the station's windows, she could see black aircraft approaching across the ice. "They're coming," she told Alex, rushing to their room. "Government people, probably military." Alex sat up, their skin patterns shifting rapidly through colors Maya had never seen before. "Will you be safe?" "I don't know," Maya answered honestly. "But I won't let them hurt you." As the helicopters landed outside the research station, Maya made a decision that would change both their lives forever. She helped Alex move to a hidden storage room in the basement. A place where the building's heat signature would mask their presence, whatever happens. Maya whispered as she heard heavy footsteps entering the station above. Remember that what we have is real. It's not something they can study or explain away. Alex reached out and touched Maya's hand. Even without their full mind-sharing connection, she could feel their gratitude, their fear, and something else, a deep affection that transcended the differences between their species. "Love me again, human," Alex whispered, using words they had learned from Maya's memories. "Take me again, human." Maya didn't understand then that these words would haunt her dreams for months to come. She didn't know that within hours, Alex would be taken from her by people who saw them as a specimen rather than a person. All she knew was that in a world of isolated minds and separate hearts, she had found someone who truly understood her, and she was about to lose them to fear, bureaucracy, and humanity's inability to accept what they couldn't control. The footsteps were getting closer. Maya squeezed Alex's crystal-smooth hand one more time before closing the hidden door, sealing away the most important relationship of her life. The men in black suits found Alex within 6 hours. Maya had hoped the hidden storage room would keep them safe. But these weren't ordinary government officials. They came with equipment that could detect heat signatures, unusual energy readings, and biosignatures that didn't match Earth life forms. Colonel Davis, the lead investigator, was a tall man with gray hair and cold eyes that reminded Maya of winter storms. He questioned her for hours while his team searched every inch of the research station. "Dr. Rodriguez, we know something crashed here 3 months ago," he said. Sitting across from her in the station's small meeting room, satellite images show the impact site, the unusual energy readings, everything. "What we don't understand is why your reports make no mention of anything unusual." Maya kept her face calm, but inside her heart was racing. "I documented everything we found, Colonel. Some metal debris, nothing more." Metal debris doesn't give off the kind of electromagnetic signatures our sensors detected. And it certainly doesn't explain the biological samples we found at the crash site. Maya's blood ran cold. She had been careful to clean up after Alex's recovery, but apparently not careful enough. "I want to see your personal notes, your computer files, everything from the past 3 months." Davis continued, while Maya was being questioned. She could hear the search team moving through the building, heavy boots, electronic beeping, voices discussing readings and measurements. Every sound made her stomach twist with worry about Alex. When they finally found the hidden room, Maya heard the shouts through the building's thin walls. "Sir, we've got something." The questioning stopped immediately. Davis stood up with a satisfied smile that made Maya feel sick. "Dr. Rodriguez, you're going to want to see this." They forced her to watch as they brought Alex out. Her alien friend was unconscious, apparently sedated by some kind of device they had used. The crystal patterns on Alex's skin were completely gray, dimmer than Maya had ever seen them. "What did you do to them?" Maya demanded, trying to rush forward. 2 soldiers held her back. "Standard containment procedure," Davis said casually. "We can't have an unknown biological entity causing problems during transport." "They're not an entity, they're a person." Davis looked at her with something that might have been pity. "Dr. Rodriguez, I think you've been alone in this place too long. This is clearly some kind of advanced technology, possibly a biological robot. Your emotional attachment is understandable but inappropriate." Maya watched helplessly as they loaded Alex into a specialized containment unit, something that looked more like a coffin than a medical transport. The crystal skin patterns remained gray and lifeless. "Where are you taking them?" she asked. "That information is classified, but I can tell you that this specimen will be studied by the best minds in the country. If it's truly of extraterrestrial origin, we need to understand its capabilities and potential threats." "Alex isn't a threat. They just wanted to learn about." U.S. Davis raised an eyebrow. "Alex, you named it." Maya realized her mistake too late. Her emotional connection to Alex was making her careless, giving away information that would only make things worse. The transport helicopter took off that evening, carrying Alex away to some unknown facility. Maya stood in the snow outside the research station. watching until the aircraft disappeared into the gray Antarctic sky. The weeks that followed were the worst of Maya's life. Without the daily mind-sharing sessions, she felt like part of herself had been cut away. She couldn't sleep properly, couldn't focus on her work, couldn't stop thinking about what they might be doing to Alex. But it was more than just missing her friend. The sudden loss of their mental connection created physical symptoms that scared her. Headaches that felt like someone was trying to tear thoughts out of her mind. Moments where she would reach out automatically for Alex's consciousness and find only empty space. Dr. James Kim noticed the change immediately. Maya, you need to see a doctor. You look terrible. She had lost weight, had dark circles under her eyes, and couldn't seem to stop her hands from shaking. But how could she explain that she was going through withdrawal from an alien mind-sharing bond? I'm fine, she lied. Just tired. Maya tried to find out where Alex had been taken. She called government offices, research institutions, anyone who might have information. But every inquiry hit a wall of classified information and official denials. I'm sorry, Dr. Rodriguez, but we have no record of any unusual specimens or extraterrestrial materials, became the standard response. After a month of getting nowhere through official channels, Maya started looking for other ways to find information. She reached out to former colleagues, scientists who might have heard rumors, anyone connected to government research projects. That's how she learned about Dr. Chen Williams, a neurobiologist who had been recruited for a classified project in Nevada. I can't tell you much, Chen said during a brief phone call, but they've got something there that's unlike anything we've seen before. Some kind of biological entity with unusual brain activity. Maya's heart pounded. Is it? Is it alive, conscious? That's the thing. We can't tell. It's been completely unresponsive since they brought it in. The brain scans show activity, but it's not reacting to any stimuli. It's like it's locked inside its own mind. The news hit Maya like a physical blow. Alex was alive but unreachable, trapped in some kind of mental prison by whatever the military was doing to them. Chen, please. If there's anything you can tell me about its condition. I shouldn't even be talking to you about this, Chen whispered. But Maya, if you knew this creature before, whatever bond it had with someone, that connection might be the only thing that could reach it now. After Chen hung up, Maya sat in her cold room at the research station, staring out at the endless ice. Somewhere, hundreds of miles away, Alex was locked in a facility, cut off from any meaningful contact, probably being treated like a laboratory specimen. She thought about their last conversation, when Alex had touched her hand and said those strange words, love me again, human, take me again, human. At the time, she hadn't understood what Alex meant. Now she realized they had been asking her to remember their connection, to hold on to what they had shared even if they were separated. Maya made a decision that would change everything. She couldn't reach Alex through official channels, and she couldn't live with the knowledge that her friend was suffering alone in some government facility. She started making plans. Late at night, she began reaching out to people who might help, scientists who believed in alien rights, researchers who had been pushed out of government projects for asking too many questions, even activists who opposed military secrecy. There's someone I need to help, she told Dr. Lisa Park, a former government scientist who now worked for a civilian research organization. Someone who's being held against their will and treated like an object instead of a person. That's a serious accusation. Maya, do you have proof? Maya thought about everything she had shared with Alex, the mind connections, the emotional bonds, the way they had learned to understand each other across impossible differences. I have something better than proof, she said. I have a relationship. As winter turned to spring in Antarctica, Maya prepared for the most important mission of her life. She didn't know exactly where Alex was being held or how she would reach them, or what she would do once she found them, but she knew she couldn't abandon the being who had shown her what it meant to truly connect with another consciousness. Alex had trusted her with their deepest thoughts and feelings. Now it was time for Maya to prove that trust hadn't been misplaced. The rescue plans were dangerous, probably illegal, and almost certainly doomed to failure. But as Maya looked out, At the Antarctic landscape where she had first found Alex, she knew she had to try. Somewhere in a military facility, Alex was waiting, and Maya was going to bring them home. The plan was crazy, dangerous, and probably impossible. But Maya had spent 6 months planning every detail, and she wasn't going to let fear stop her now. The military facility in Nevada was called Desert Research Station, though everyone knew. It dealt with things the government didn't want people to know about. Getting inside would require help from people who understood what was at stake. Dr. Lisa Park had connections Maya never expected. Former military personnel who disagreed with how the facility operated. Scientists who had been fired for asking too many questions. And even a few security guards who were tired of watching innocent beings suffer in the name of national security. We have a narrow window, Lisa explained during their secret meeting in a Las Vegas hotel room. There's a shift change at 3 a.m. when the facility has minimum staffing. But Maya, once we're inside, there's no guarantee we'll find your friend alive. Maya's stomach twisted at the thought, but she pushed the fear away. Alex is alive. I can feel it somehow. The connection we shared, it's still there, just very faint. 2 other people joined their rescue team. Dr. Tony Reeves was a former facility researcher who had been dismissed for refusing to participate in what he called inhumane experimentation. Katie Zhang was a former security technician who knew the facility's layout and security systems. The entity you're looking for is in sublevel 3. Katie said, showing them building blueprints, maximum security containment. They've been running tests on it for months, trying to understand how its brain works. What kind of tests? Maya asked, though she wasn't sure she wanted to know the answer. Tony's face darkened. Electrical stimulation, chemical injections, sensory deprivation. They're treating it like a laboratory animal, not a sentient being. Maya felt anger burning in her chest. Alex was suffering because humans couldn't accept that intelligence could exist in forms they didn't understand. The night of the rescue, Maya's hands were shaking as they drove through the Nevada desert. The facility appeared ahead of them like a small city of lights in the darkness. Remember, Katie whispered as they approached the perimeter fence. We have maybe 20 minutes before someone notices the security cameras are looping old footage. After that, all the alarms go off. Getting inside was easier than Maya expected. Katie's access code still worked, and Tony knew which hallways to avoid. But as they made their way down to sublevel 3, Maya felt a growing sense of dread. The containment area looked like something from a nightmare. Long hallways lined with heavy metal doors, each marked with numbers and coded warnings. The air smelled of disinfectant and something else, something that reminded Maya of fear. Cell 347, Katie said, checking her stolen access list. That's where they're keeping your friend. When Maya saw Alex through the reinforced window, her heart nearly broke. Alex was connected to dozens of wires and tubes, lying motionless on a metal table. Their crystal skin was completely gray, darker than Maya had ever seen it. Machines monitored their vital signs while others delivered unknown substances through 4 lines. Oh God. Maya whispered, "What have they done to you?" Getting into the cell required Tony to override multiple security systems while Katie watched for guards. Every second felt like an hour as Maya waited to reach Alex. When the door finally opened, Maya rushed to Alex's side. Up close, she could see the damage the months of testing had caused. There were small scars where electrodes had been attached, marks from injections, and worst of all, Alex's skin pattern showed no response to her presence. "Alex," Maya whispered, touching their hand gently. "It's me. I'm here to take you home." Nothing. No color change, no recognition, no sign that Alex even knew she was there. Tony was working frantically to disconnect the monitoring equipment. Whatever they've done to its nervous system, it's locked in some kind of feedback loop. The brain activity is there, but it can't reach the surface. Maya closed her eyes and tried to reach out with her mind the way she had learned months ago. In Antarctica, she pushed past the fear and desperation, searching for any trace of the connection they had shared. At first, there was nothing. Then, like a whisper in a storm, she felt something familiar, a faint echo of Alex's consciousness. Trapped deep inside their own mind. "You're in there," Maya said softly. "I know you can hear me somehow." She pressed both hands against Alex's face, ignoring the wires and medical equipment. "Remember what you told me that last night? You said love me again, human. Take me again, human. I didn't understand then, but I do now. You were asking me to find you. No matter what happened, something changed." The faintest shift in Alex's skin patterns, a tiny spark of color in the gray. "That's it," Maya encouraged. "Come back to me. Remember what we shared. Remember how it felt to connect across the emptiness of space." The facility's alarm system suddenly screamed to life. Red lights flashed in the corridors, and Maya heard the sound of running footsteps. "We need to go now," Katie shouted from the doorway. But Maya couldn't leave Alex like this. She leaned closer, speaking directly into their ear. "Alex, I need you to try. I know you're scared and hurt, but I'm here. We can face whatever comes next together." Alex's eyes suddenly opened. The crystal patterns on their skin flickered like a computer rebooting. Cycling through colors Maya remembered from their time together. When Alex looked at her, there was recognition in their dark eyes. "Maya," Alex whispered, their voice weak but definitely present. "You came back." "I promised I wouldn't let them hurt you," Maya said, tears streaming down her face. "Can you move? We need to get out of here." With Tony and Katie's help, they got Alex off the table and started moving toward the exit. Alex was weak from months of confinement, but their skin patterns were growing brighter with each step away from the containment cell. As they made their way through the corridors, Alex shared something that made Maya's blood run cold. "They're coming," Alex said quietly. "My people. They've been watching this facility, waiting to see what humans would do with me." "Your people are coming to rescue you?" Maya asked. Alex's patterns shifted to dark purples. "Not to rescue me, to punish Earth for what they see as contamination of one of their own. They believe my connection with you has damaged me beyond repair." The rescue team froze in the hallway as the implications hit them. "How long do we have?" Tony asked. Alex closed their eyes, seeming to listen to something the others couldn't hear. "They arrive at dawn, and they're not coming in peace." Maya realized that saving Alex was only the beginning of their problems. The real challenge would be convincing an alien species that love between different forms of consciousness wasn't contamination, it was evolution. As they fought their way out of the facility with security forces closing in behind them, Maya held Alex's hand and felt their shared connection growing stronger again. Whatever was coming, they would face it together. The crystal patterns on Alex's skin began to show colors Maya had never seen before. New shades that seemed to represent hope, mixed with determination. They were no longer the same being who had crashed in Antarctica, just as Maya was no longer the isolated scientist who had found them. They had become something new together, and soon they would have to prove to both their species that love could bridge any gap, even the vastness between worlds. Dawn was breaking over the Nevada desert when the ships appeared. Maya and Alex stood together on a ridge overlooking the valley, watching as crystalline vessels descended from the morning sky. The ships were beautiful and terrifying at the same time, structures that seemed to grow and change shape as they moved, like living architecture. "There are 12 ships," Alex said quietly, their skin patterns shifting between hope and fear. "That means the Council of Elders came themselves. They only do that for matters of the highest importance." Maya squeezed Alex's hand. The past few hours had been a blur of escape, hiding, and desperate planning. The rescue team had managed to get them away from the military facility, but there was nowhere on Earth they could hide from Alex's people. "Are you ready for this?" Maya asked. Alex's patterns brightened slightly. "With you beside me, I think I can face anything." The ships landed in the valley below, and figures began emerging. Even from a distance, Maya could see they moved with the same fluid grace as Alex, their crystal skin catching the morning light. The tall one in the center is Elder Zara. Alex explained. "They were supposed to be my life partner before I left. The others are the council members who arranged our binding ceremony." Maya felt a stab of something that might have been jealousy, but Alex's gentle touch on her mind calmed her fears. That was a different life, Alex said softly, before I learned what it meant to choose love instead of accepting it. As the alien delegation approached the ridge, Maya could see the differences between Alex and their people. Alex's skin patterns now included the warm golds and soft greens they had developed during their time with humans. The others displayed only the traditional colors of their species, cool blues, purples, and silvers. Elder Zara spoke first, their voice carrying somehow across the distance without need for amplification. Alex Nethkaro, you have been missing from us for one full cycle. The damage to your consciousness is evident. Come home so we can heal you. Alex stepped forward, their patterns shifting to confident golds. I am not damaged, Elder Zara. I am evolved. The council members moved closer, and Maya could feel the weight of their attention like a physical force. When they looked at her, she felt as if they were seeing through her skin to examine her thoughts. This human has contaminated your mind-sharing abilities, another elder said. We can sense the foreign patterns in your consciousness. You are no longer purely one of us. That's correct, Alex replied calmly. I am no longer purely one of you, but I am also no longer purely myself. I have become something new through connection with Maya. Elder Zara's patterns darkened. This is exactly what we feared. Human consciousness is limited, isolated, incomplete. Contact with such minds damages our ability to share the full spectrum of existence. Maya found her voice. Those speaking to beings who could share thoughts felt strange after months of silence. You're wrong about human consciousness. We're not limited, we're just different. Alex hasn't been damaged by our connection. They've been expanded by it. Humans cannot share true consciousness, Elder Zara stated. Your minds are trapped in individual isolation. What you call love is merely chemical attraction and emotional dependency. Alex's skin patterns flared brighter than Maya had ever seen them. Elder Zara, you speak from the perspective of someone who has never experienced choice and love on our world. Consciousness sharing is a sign, required, automatic. But Maya taught me what it means to choose to share yourself with another being. Choice is chaos. Another elder replied, our bonding process ensures perfect compatibility and eternal harmony. Eternal boredom, Alex countered. Maya showed me that growth comes from choosing to understand someone different from yourself, not from being matched with someone identical to your thoughts. Maya stepped closer to Alex, taking their hand in full view of the council. Alex is right. Our connection isn't damage, it's evolution. They taught me to share consciousness in ways humans never imagined, and I taught them to value individual thought and choice. Elder Zara approached them directly, their towering form casting a shadow across the ridge. Demonstrate this supposed evolution. Show us how this contamination has improved either of your species. Alex looked at Maya, and she nodded. Together, they opened their minds to the watching council. What the elders experienced was unlike anything in their collective memory. They felt Alex's consciousness, but expanded beyond its original boundaries. Where there had once been the simple, pure thought patterns of their species, there was now something richer, individual creativity combined with shared understanding. Through Alex, they experienced Maya's human perspective, the loneliness of isolated minds, but also the joy of choosing to bridge that isolation. They felt what it was like to fall in love with someone completely different from yourself, to grow by embracing rather than fearing the unknown. But most importantly, they felt the new form of consciousness that Alex and Maya had created together, something that honored both individual choice and shared understanding, that celebrated differences while building connection. When the demonstration ended, the council stood in silence for long moments. This is unexpected, Elder Zara admitted. Your consciousness has not been diminished by human contact. It has been transformed into something we do not understand, another elder added nervously. Alex's patterns shifted to gentle golds. That's the point, elder. Love isn't about understanding everything immediately. It's about choosing to grow with someone, to become more than you were alone. Maya found herself speaking directly to Elder Zara. You came here expecting to punish Earth for contaminating Alex, but Alex wasn't contaminated. They were evolved, and that evolution could benefit both our species. How? Elder Zara asked. By learning from each other instead of fearing each other, Maya replied. Your people have mastered consciousness sharing, but lost the ability to choose. Humans have mastered individual choice, but struggle to truly connect. Together, we could develop something neither species could achieve alone. Alex stepped between Maya and the council. I asked for the right to remain with Maya, to continue learning what this new form of consciousness can become. And I asked that our peoples begin the real work of first contact, not as conquerors or victims, but as species who can teach each other about different ways of love. Elder Zera's patterns shifted through a rainbow of colors as they considered. This request goes against everything our society believes about consciousness and compatibility. Your society believed I was damaged goods when I refused my assigned bonding, Alex pointed out. Maybe it's time to question some of those beliefs. The morning sun climbed higher as the council deliberated through rapid patterns of shared thought. Finally, Elder Zera approached Alex and Maya. We will permit this experiment, they decided. Alex Nethkaro, you may remain with the human Maya, but you will serve as an ambassador between our peoples, helping both species learn from this new form of connection you have discovered. Maya felt tears of relief streaming down her face. Thank you. Do not thank us yet. Elder Zera warned. This path will be difficult for both your species. Love that bridges such vast differences requires courage, patience, and constant choice. Alex's patterns brightened to the warmest golds Maya had ever seen. We know, but that's what makes it real love instead of just compatible programming. As the alien ships prepared to depart, leaving behind a small delegation to begin formal first contact procedures, Maya and Alex stood together watching the sunrise. Love me again, human, Alex said softly, using the words that had haunted Maya's dreams for months. Take me again, human. This time, Maya understood completely. Alex wasn't asking to be rescued or possessed. They were asking to be chosen. Again and again, day after day, in the ongoing act of building love across impossible differences. I choose you, Maya whispered back, today and every day. I choose to keep learning how to love someone who sees the universe differently than I do. Their minds touched gently, sharing the warmth of connection freely chosen rather than automatically assigned. In that touch, both felt the promise of a future where love could bridge any gap. Even the vastness between worlds, the crystal patterns on Alex's skin shifted to colors that had never existed on their home world. New shades born from the meeting of two different forms of consciousness. They were creating something unprecedented together, something that honored both individual choice and shared understanding. As the sun climbed higher over the Nevada desert, two beings from different worlds stood hand in hand, proving that love was not just about compatibility or chemistry or automatic connection. Love was about choice, and they chose each other across every difference, every day, forever.